All right, JD. What did we find down in Alaska?
Well, we went on a trip to Alaska a couple weeks ago and didn't really tell you much about it except for hop in.
Yep.
And then we ended up
Signature.
signature move by JD. We found us a helicopter.
Yep.
Checked it out, learned a lot of information. Now we got to go pick it up.
Yep.
So
And the short little trek back.
just a short one.
Yep.
Pretty quick cross country.
3,000 miles or so.
Maybe. Depends if we have to go back and forth and back. And forth.
Yep.
No.
Go around all the water. That'd be a good time.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to take a cool coastal route. So you guys know, Alex, new private pilot, working on some instrument, working on some commercial. We'll see what kind of training we can get for him along the way.
I think we're going to learn a lot.
I think I'm going to learn some stuff too. And I'll be like, what do you think about this? And he'll be like,
Sure. We'll just go with the flow.
I think so. We've got some really great friends that live in Alaska, fly back and forth, and have made this trek. In an airplane, it's not as big of a deal. You got longer fuel reserves from stop to stop. Can fly 6-7 hours with some of these setups.
Yeah.
With the 500, we're a little bit different, right?
Yep.
What's our time and our in flight that you think we'll be getting?
We got about 3 hours. That's pushing it out in the middle of nowhere in Canada.
I was gonna say that's a little bit. That's trusting the 500 from a low power setting. I think if we're pushing it, we'll be 2.5.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do some cross country flight planning. Just try and get Alex to learn as much as he can with this, but we have to start from square one. We figured this would be useful to you guys. From all the way from putting the aircraft profile into ForeFlight to being able to see some of our route of planning. We got to talk to Lee a little bit about her trip. She's done about, 50?
Yeah, that's what she said. That's it's a few treks back and forth.
Yeah, in a lot of different weather situations and so on and so forth. Our biggest concern, it really is being able to get somewhere and get fuel. We're definitely going to be bringing some extra jugs with us. Mm-hmm. If we have certain weather conditions, we'll have to stop and wait them out. Luckily, at this point in time, we've got pretty long days for daylight.
Yeah, we got a lot of daylight.
So hopefully we won't be snuggling in a tent anywhere.
Yeah.
But this is what's cool about Highland helicopters. I have this kind of no empty seat policy, and Alex is able to do a lot of these things. He's here all the time. He also runs the camera. He also runs the videos, posts them for us. So he's always busy working. And so there's a lot of times that he gets to jump in when other people's don't. So what we should start off with is getting it into ForeFlight, getting the profile put together. How's it going? Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye. We'll get the profile put together, get in ForeFlight, get the weight and balance done, and then start looking at the flight plan overall. So if you don't know how to do that, have you done this before?
Yep.
Awesome. So we want to put the tail number. Our new tail number for this 500 is going to be November 13 Whiskey Delta. As you can see, we already got some great waypoints, thanks to Lee on that. Candy Cane Copter's done it a couple of times, so she knows what to do, and she's also done it several times in the 500s. So, of course, hers is starting off over at Valdez, which is where she's at. We are going to be starting in Anchorage, so we'll add Anchorage to our route here. So we've got us going to Valdez. And then our next point here would be Cordova. We got a little bit of a waterway there situation we got to go over. We don't have floats, pop-out floats, but we will have some life vests. We're going to choose this coastal route here, and then we go to the next one. Got us flying down to Paya, Yakutat. This is going to be one of the longer stints, but at 90 knots, it says it should take us 2 hours and 6 minutes. So as long as weather's holding out for us, that's a good spot. Like I said, we'll have fuel jugs with us. We'll need to call ahead to every single one of these. We're going to get some phone numbers and information to talk to everybody as we go along. We got this really cool spot over here, this Cape Spencer. It's just a cool spot to fly over. Part of this trip, we wanted to definitely see some stuff. So we have some friends up there. We might get to go fly with Rusty a little bit, which would be cool. Maybe he'll jump out of his helicopter.
Yeah, we gotta bring some parachutes.
Just in general, we should bring some parachutes. No. We're trying to pack light, obviously. We'll talk a little bit more about kind of what we're going to bring and how we're going to handle that situation. Then we'll fly up here to Augusta. That's a spot for where we can get fuel. It's not all these spots do we have to get fuel. You know, this one's going to be a little over an hour and 31 minutes, as you can see. But, you know,
better have it, not need it.
Exactly. I would rather top up and then get to Juneau. We could obviously go straight from Pags to Passy if we wanted to. We can adjust this route as needed. I've got some friends in Juneau, though, so we might stay at their hotel up there. Yeah, so we'll see. You know, and that's one of the biggest things. We got to figure out where we want to stay each day. We've got tons of daylight, so depending on how long it takes us to get places, you know, from here to Juneau, we could look at it. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit longer versus a straight line, but that's about 5-6 hours of flying right there, with fuel stops, food, maybe, you know, a little sightseeing in between. We're probably going to be at, you know, 8 hours at that point.
Yep.
Doesn't mean we have to stop. We just have to see how we feel. The problem with this thing, or this type of cross country, is when we are doing cross countries, like when I brought the Robinson back from California, lots of airports to stay at, lots of places when the sun runs down, we can go sleep, whatever.
Probably some nice overhanging bushes we can.
Yeah, so we have to be cautious of that, right?
Yep.
If we hit weather, we got to be cautious of that, because we, you know, even if we have good weather, but we have a strong headwind, we may have to go ahead and land and wait for some of that wind to change, really being on top of it. One of the really good pieces of advice I got is we're going to watch the FAA weather camera. This is the best way to be on top of the weather, because it may say something and it not be accurate. It just changes really quickly as well. Shows you where it's IFR, VFR, things like that. So we can literally plug in our flight plan, start looking at some of these weather cams. So for instance, if I can get it to load. There's Wilder, Kenai, Alaska. Cordova, there's one of them right there that we're going to be trying to go do. So on our way, we can sit there and see. And get some good information.
Yeah, this one's cool. It's got directions heading out at each side of the airport.
That's really cool. Yeah. So, big reason we're bringing our Starlink too. We got tons of batteries, things like that. I've heard of times where people can't even get fuel because the internet's down and the phone systems are down. So having the Starlink is a huge game changer. I don't know how they did this kind of stuff without it. Just longer.
A couple of them didn't make it.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So we can kind of plan our day based on how many hours we're trying to fly for that day. There's some really cool spots when we get into Canada. So another thing is we have to cross and fuel up in Canada. So we have to talk to Customs, Border Patrol on both
Radio
sides.
licenses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Gonna learn a little bit more about that, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
You thought you'd never have to use it, did you?
That's what they taught me.
So that's a couple of things that we need to make sure we have notes for, and outside of that is, you know, our customs. So best thing to do is to land about 15 minutes before you're going to cross the border. Give them a call, give them an ETA. That way, because if you're too far off your ETA, you have to call again. So big thing is with the customs, we want to make sure we give them a good ETA.
Good
land.
thing we're in a helicopter.
Yep, exactly. And before entering Canada, and then after when we're ready to go back into the States.
Yep. Yeah, getting into Canada doesn't scare me. Getting back into the States.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my passport's almost due.
Uh-oh.
So hopefully it doesn't take us till October to get there. Cool.
Let's get to it.
Let's get it. Alright guys, since the weather is holding us back today, can't fly right now, we figured we might as well start customizing the helicopter. Went ahead and I brought some stickers with us, and I got kind of a tradition that we like to do on these 500s. This sticker fits perfectly in the air vent here. We want the most essential stuff on us at all times. We got the iPad mount, of course, put in here. We got a nice Garmin GPS that's portable, which is really nice to have a part of this helicopter here. And then one of my favorite pieces, I was able to get the Starlink with this mount up here and a battery that allows us to go 4 or 5 hours and have the Starlink as long as we don't go over 100 miles an hour.
Well, just send me some pictures when you get it to its new home.
Alright guys, we're coming up on one of the glacier lakes up here. This is one of the passes that essentially made it to where we couldn't fly yesterday. We still got some low ceilings we're going to be working with, but I think we're going to make it through today. We talked to some other guys who flew around it today, and this is essentially the quickest way we can get through our route to Cordova, which is another part. We've got some weather to deal with over there, but we're going to break each leg down. And watching the weather systems come in up here, we actually had a storm that was working up here in Anchorage, and as soon as it gets completely clear, which is later this week, another storm's rolling down further south. So we had to find a gap that we could essentially get through Anchorage, but also allow ourselves to get through the lower parts from Cordova down to Ketchikan without us ending up in a spot that would ground us again, essentially. So, but for the whole time, I got my new patch, bought some night vision goggles for us, and got my new patch from the gentleman, and says stop screaming, I'm scared too. So I figured that was perfect for this trip. We're working our way through this area here. We're along the coast. We're basically island hopping between places as we're getting our way. Looks like we hop here, we hop there. We got to kind of stay low level between 300 to 500 feet in some places, and we're just grabbing each island as we go. Some of them we've been able to cross over the island. Some of them we have to kind of skirt around, but overall not too terrible. We've got a little bit of a headwind still. In Alaska, a lot of times you got to call ahead for fuel. They could maybe not have fuel, or the people that are doing these fuel caches along the way are...
Water puppy.
A water puppy?
Yeah.
I was going to say there's something white over there. A lot of these guys may be doing fueling at a dock and fueling for aircraft, so you got to call ahead. Luckily, we got the Starlink up here, which is pretty nice. It's connected, and we've been able to, make phone calls, stay in touch, get live active data as we need it. So essentially, once we get through here, we could have gone left around this mountain here, this island, I should say. But we're kind of straight, and then this is the next stretch we're going on as a bigger crossing of water. We really don't have an option unless the weather is nice, but usually it's not. It's about 10 nautical miles. It's not going to be our largest water crossing without being to land, but it would take us about 6 minutes to get there. And we'll just watch where the winds come from. We got a headwind again. This helicopter has a sweet fuel meter. We'll see if we'll be able to edit. Gonna see that in there, but we're able to see our endurance, how much fuel we're burning. We can adjust that as needed. This is pretty crucial. We don't have that on our birds in Durango because a lot of the stuff we do is just local, and we know we got lots of fueling options. Without the fueling options here, we're actually loving having this, so we can really dial in what our power setting is, how fast we're gonna go. If we have too big of a headwind, whether or not we need to stop. We got some fuel cans in the back. We're working through this area right here, getting to the airport. This is the fun part. So like I said, we have some fuel jugs. We didn't have any full at the moment because we needed to fill them when we got to this place. But essentially, as we were working through this mountain, it's socked in, as you can see. We found this hole here, so we're able to fly through that. Getting a little bit colder, we're going to pay attention to that if we need to put our anti-ice on.
Yeah, TOT is moving up a little bit.
That could
We'll
be
be
you
able
a
to
little
drop
bit.
down in 2 seconds.
Yep. All right, so we found our way through the town. We got our town of Cordova in front of us here. We're gonna stay. Did he say he wanted us on the east side, or because the east side's over here?
Yeah.
Did he say go to the east side around the town?
Yep.
Okay. Ourselves a little bit steeper approach. I know we don't do as much of steep approaches where we're at, but since we're over the water, we want to keep this one a bit steeper. And it looks like they've got somebody watching there. No vegetation. A little bit of power.
100 feet.
There you go. Looking good. A little bit of power. There we go. I don't want to get too far over here. I like it up further a little bit. And then just make sure we're in a good flat spot and we need to come forward a little bit more.
Cordova traffic, helicopter 13 Whiskey Delta is taking 06 for a departure to the east, Cordova.
Into the wind we go. Yep, keep edging forward. Good job. A little bit of right pedal. Okay, there you go. He said the fishing operation is starting tomorrow officially.
Yeah, he said there's 3 helicopters through here today.
Oh, really? Ooh. Oh, yeah, it's about the same as it was.
Yeah.
We'll just see as it goes. We're going to cut to the right a little bit. We're going to cut across.
Okay.
On our next leg here, we made our first fuel stop. We got the fuel jugs full of fuel. We're likely going to have to use them on this next leg. We got some pretty decent headwinds. We're watching this fuel flow meter, which is great. It's still saying we have 2 hours. It's been about 30 minutes. I would say that's decently accurate. We're going to watch the gauge, but we've already kind of discussed there's an airstrip. I mean, there's landing places out here, but this is marshy, muddy, junk right now. And there's an airstrip that is in between here. It's called Cape Yakataga. It's an old lodge. Do you remember what he said was there? Coast Guard and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, an old fire airstrip.
Fire airstrip.
Coast Guard used it.
So we'll land there. We'll hot fuel this thing. We'll throw some jugs in it, just so that way we have that extra buffer. Like I said, we're kind of fighting a lot more weather than what we would usually probably have to, and staying along the coastline. So. As we get closer, obviously, you see the mountains. Check out that bald eagle.
Yep, got him.
There's a lot of bald eagles out here. Per capita, probably the biggest eagle population. So, probably good fishing, that's why. But we're right by the coast now. We've kind of moved inland a little bit more than we were. But we decided we could have picked through some of these mountains to our left.
This traffic Cessna Fox is entering the right base for runway 9.
And we could have picked through the other side. We decided to stay on the coast because it's pretty much where we're going to be the whole time. Iceberg!
Oh, man.
Oh, dude, this is the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. I don't know, I fly, but holy cow. This is for you guys on the camera. That's a whole glacier right there. As our new term that we've learned.
That's scuzzy.
Scuzzy. But we're flying right next to the coast. We're pushing. We got about 90 knots, so not getting much of a tailwind. But we're set up to where if we go to the ice bay, we can go from there. Basically what we're using as a reference throughout this area that is getting kind of cruddy is we have the water to help us. So pretty much a shoreline like this most of the way here. And of course we can go right over the bay if we need to a little bit. But essentially there's an airstrip in front of us that we can land at if we need to with this type of moisture, heavy moisture. But the water's given us a really good guidance, a really good ground reference, if you will. This is also where you can get a bunch of stuff if a crew, like the ships, what was it, the container ships, I guess at one point Yeti coolers were across this entire area because the container got lost at sea or fell off the ship, essentially. Look at that rolling. These white caps nice and rolling. Yep. And then there's glass bowls out here from Japan, and I really want to find one. So if we find one, we might stop. We'll fuel up there and grab it. But it's not a have-to situation or a need to put ourselves at risk. But we're just cruising right now. We're probably about 10 minutes away from the Ice Bay Airport that we were going to go to, and we're only about 2 nautical miles from this other airport. So just a cool check-in for you guys. Alright guys, we're going over to water. This is one of the longest stretches we have to go over water. We just don't have enough fuel to kind of stay along the coast all the way and pop in, so we're making this stretch. About 10 minutes of flight time just to get across the stretch. We're about 15 minutes from the airport, which is just right on the other side. So we're cruising, got some cool water mixing looking out here. Birds, some sort of ship out there. It's kind of wild to me. But we're doing about 105 across the ground, 110 on the needle. And yeah, at some point we'll be quite a bit further from swimming distance. I believe this ship has engaged with us in a race.
I saw it, he blinked.
He blinked.
Check traffic, helicopter 13 Whiskey Delta is on a modified approach. 11 will go direct to the ramp.
Which is the big one?
Calling that green one or this busted up one?
There's definitely a Jet A tank there.
Yeah.
$1295 is for fuel, but alright, let's bring her slower down. Alright, you can take it off. I got.
Yep, good. That is a crazy build.
I know, right? Fuel tanks and everything. We're well below you, but we should be crossing your path. Oh, we got you in sight now. We're on there, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I was just above you. Did you see me back there in Redfish?
Oh yeah, we saw you. It was pretty cool watching you come over.
Yeah, it was cool watching you too, man. Yeah, just cruising your 500, that's cool.
Yeah, we're actually bringing her all the way back to Colorado.
Wow, that's cool. There's a bridge back take my son hunting up there. I live down in Port Alexander right here, but yeah, there's this really cool little knob that looks out over the Pacific Ocean. It'd be so cool to drop in with that your bird there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we saw you dive over, and we're like, he sees a sucker hole that we don't see, and then we were like, we'll follow him, but maybe we shouldn't.
No, that's a good hole back there. It's over by Clark's Pond, and I've been flying around here about 30 years. I homesteaded down here, claimed land when I was 17 years old, came up from California. 52 years ago this year, but it's pretty cool. This little town up here in front of me.
That's so awesome.
Should we drop him some coffee out the window? I wish.
Man, if we were stopping and had enough fuel, I'd say we'd stop and drop some coffee. I own a coffee company, for an aviation coffee company called On the Ball Coffee.
Right on, that's cool. Yeah, shoot, we got a small lodge down here. We just go fishing last with Kevin sometime. Got this air service, this aeronautic air service.